The content presented is for entertainment purposes only. Some content may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, JayReims of the Periodic Review, and welcome to the show. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about freedom of speech and how it's continually being attacked here in America. A little bit about Elon Musk and his soon to be acquiring Twitter. And a little bit about Out of Range starring Josh Brolin on Prime Video. So welcome. Just behind me in first chair is my lovely co-host, Miss Rianne. In the bundle of blankets. How are you doing, Miss Rianne?
Hi. It's cold.
You know, what's really funny is having a three level home. It's literally like it's the hottest at the the second floor. It's almost tolerable in the main level, and then it's like super cold in the basement. Like, what is that all about?
Well, yeah, that's just how it works.
Well,
so I don't know.
Well, what's been going on with you? I know we haven't been on for a couple of weeks. What's been going on in your neck of the woods?
Stupid politics.
Stupid politics. Well, I know that we spent a little bit of time cleaning out some stuff from your office, because you guys are going remote. Isn't that exciting?
It is, but it isn't. Like,
it is, but it isn't.
It is,
yeah, true.
Because I feel like I can be productive because I won't be distracted wanting to talk to everybody because that's just how I am. But at the same time, it's going to be harder to stay motivated and feel connected to the team because we're not going to be in the same space.
That makes sense.
And like when we worked with COVID, it was hard, because of the whole situation. And so I'm trying really hard to make sure I can stay productive. One thing for sure though was when I was working from home, I felt like I was more balanced because I felt more accomplished in a lot of ways. Because
you're able to focus and not get all the distractions that you have from work.
My ADD brain gets distracted so easy. But it'll be good. I mean, because I'm still working in the office, but I won't have like a dedicated space in the other office.
Right.
That we're combining with. So it'll be interesting.
But it'll be good because you do have a dedicated space here at home. So that way you can seclude yourself and focus, and then you can remove yourself from the quote unquote workspace. That way you can disconnect from work and kind of proceed your brain and your body back into normal everyday life back in the rest of the house.
Yeah, you would think that.
It works in theory, I should say.
I mean, the fact that I have a dedicated office is nice, but I don't know. The office is a hot mess, so I have a lot of cleaning up to do because
we're adding more things to it.
Oh. So anyway, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Let's change the topic.
Okay. Well, any other updates? I mean, it's been a couple of weeks. Do you have any other things you want to update our lovely viewers on?
I started my summer semester of school today.
Yay!
And it's going to be a very, I'm taking 2 classes, and one of them has 3 textbooks, and I'm like, ooh. So, but it's a political science class, which
right.
I find interesting because me in politics, and anyway. So it'll either enrage me or it'll interest me, but I know one thing's for sure. I'm going to have to read a shit ton.
Yeah.
So, and that was really weird to hear my voice just a second ago.
Okay. So I think everybody can still hear. So basically what that does, like on my mixer, is it brings in the sound from the computer. So I don't know. It has a little bit of a hum to it. It's kind of annoying, actually, but that's okay. Is it distracting for you?
No.
No?
Not
Okay.
if we're talking.
Okay, but that's okay because then if we do want to like play something in the background, like not play something in the background, but like overview, something specific, we can add that.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm doing
So yeah, so
political
school
science.
So school political science, isn't that exciting?
I might not be able to get on the podcast because I'll be too feisty.
Oh, if we get into politics too much?
Because it's international politics is the class I'm taking,
Oh.
which we're going to be talking already, and just reading the syllabus and stuff. We're going to be talking about Russia and Ukraine and
Everything that's going on over there.
oh
Huh?
yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So,
No, that makes sense. That's that's gonna be crazy.
anyway,
Well, hey, it's good to kind of catch up. I know it's been a few weeks. So kind of what's been going on in my neck of the woods is obviously all of you guys know we haven't been around for a couple of weeks. Obviously, we haven't been doing our podcast. We have not been doing our my 4 days of live streaming late at night, playing some video games. And that is because we have this wonderful PC over here that you can see. For those of you that can see on the video. So this is a PC build that I built with some newish parts, some used that I bought from my little brother when he was upgrading his PC. And I kind of Frankensteined a gaming PC for on the as cheap as I possibly could. And that thing has literally lasted about 8 years. No, how long have we been married?
it'll be 8 years in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, 8 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Happy early anniversary.
Whoa! Where does the time go?
It flies because we're having fun.
Yeah,
Or stressed out, one of the two, or both. A little bit of everything. No, so this PC I think I built a couple years before we got married. I want to say. So this thing,
10 years old.
It's about 10 years old. Like it was a good PC build. It lasted for quite a while. But it just got to the point where it kept not recording. I couldn't stay connected live streaming for whatever reason. And it didn't have anything to do with the internet. It would just randomly restart. It would randomly crash. The memory channels are going bad. It just was old. So it was time to get a new PC. So, so that's kind of why we haven't been around. So we're glad to be back, and we're happy to be back with you guys, streaming, and sharing our thoughts and feelings and these wonderful topics that we love to talk about. It's a lot of fun for us. It gives us a little bit more meaning outside of just the mundane day-to-day grind. And it gives us purpose. Why am I dropping stuff? What is happening right now?
Could you stop fidgeting, please, sir?
Where's my fidget cube?
I don't know, but you're driving me insane. You keep dropping crap, and I'm gonna freak out.
Oh, there's my fidget cube. Yay! So we got a new PC. So here's how the story happened.
Did you get a new keyboard with it?
It came with it. Yeah, it came with a new keyboard and mouse.
What?
Yeah, look at that.
It's so fancy.
So it's it kind of
has.
It's a what do you call it?
LED light.
It's a mechanical keyboard. It's an iBuy pre-built, and basically everything lights up, even the mouse. The mouse lights up. I'm gonna have to actually give you guys a kind of view of it. It's actually pretty cool looking, and everything that's under the hood and what we paid for it's not too bad. And we didn't have to order all the parts, build it, and install everything, which was kind of nice for me because then I could just focus on work and get everything all ready to go. So what's interesting about the story of how we got this computer obviously because the other one died. But the other thing is that Rianne went ahead and she ordered it. She's like, hey, here's your birthday present. And it arrived in our first home that we lived in an apartment out in Surprise, Arizona, which was pretty funny.
Well, because, see, I don't know if I want to talk about it because I'll get so angry. I was so frustrated. Because, like, I ordered it and then I put the shipping address is the same as the billing address, but for some stupid ass reason, the Best Buy like online market thing defaulted to my very first address I ever entered. Oh, and I was so frustrated. I thought it was shipping here. Then Jacob's like, are you sure it's shipping here? And I was so mad. I'm like, duh, Jacob, you think I know how to like confirm an address, blah, 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 right?
Right.
And then I go and I check and I see it and I was so mad. One, I was mad that it, like, even though I defaulted to the shipping address is the same as the billing address.
Right.
It obviously didn't do it, but then I was even more mad because then it made Jacob right, and that made me really mad because I didn't want Jacob to be right. Hey,
Shinra, welcome to the show.
It throws us off. It throws off the mojo when Jacob's right. I always have to be right. I'm just kidding. I'm not that terrible, but
well, I had a feeling because it's been so long since we used our Best Buy card, and I remember the last time that we used it. Like, I think we were still living in Surprise, or
no, I used it to buy our new monitors.
Oh, that's right. But
like,
some reason it defaulted for
I had
reason.
Purchased stuff and had stuff sent to this address, so I don't know why it. Oh, I was so mad. And then I was like, I called the customer support thing twice. And then I call a third time and they're like, oh yeah, they didn't do anything with it. It's still being, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Oh, I was so mad.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to go into that much detail, but it is,
you started
it is funny.
Sir.
And then, so after that, you know, we finally, after you called 2 or 3 times to customer service, they finally sent us a second one.
And hours. I mean, hours on the phone.
Hours on the phone. And then they sent it to the same address. So the second PC was sent out to Arizona, and then they had to reroute that and send it to the correct address. And then once we got it, I had a USB 3 port on the motherboard that was broken. It was still working, but then it had some kind of catastrophic issues with the hardware. I think it was the hard drive, the 1 terabyte HDD, so and it kept crashing the computer and it kept restarting, and so we had to take that one back and have another one shipped out to our house. So it was a 2-week process just to get a computer here that would just work. But after all that was said and done, I mean, this is a pretty decent computer, I'm not going to lie. And I even sent it to my little brother, who's an absolute geek and freak as far as like what is good. And he's like, yeah, this is going to do for you for quite a while. And I'm like, sweet. So,
yeah, and it didn't cost us $4,000, did it, Jacob?
No, it didn't. Although I would have loved to have a $4,000
That's
Meta
what
PC.
You were trying to finagle.
That was my initial like, hey, what are your thoughts on buying a computer through Meta PC? And a lot of that was because, you know, it is veteran owned and ran. And they apparently have really good reviews. They do all the testing, benchmarking, and everything. So when the PC arrives at your home, it's working right out of the box. Where Best Buy, they at least put everything on it, but they don't test it clearly. And that was kind of a frustrating thing. Although the unboxing and plugging everything in, I feel like they did an okay job. They definitely need to do some quality control as far as like ensuring that none of the components are broken, ensuring that like the hard drives are working, they're not having like issues. But I think overall, like, it could have been better, but it wasn't so terrible that we decided to go somewhere else. So there's that.
Oh, it almost was.
It almost was. We were almost at the point where I was like, maybe I should just buy all the parts and build it myself. Because it's already took us 2 weeks just to get this here. I mean, that would have taken that long just to order all the parts, put it together, test, install, get all the software and firmware put in there, and then I would have a PC. So, but if I did build it myself, I at least would have all the parts that I would have preferred. But overall, it was a pretty good purchase, I feel. And we're back up and running, and that's what's exciting.
Yeah.
Probably not so exciting. So this past weekend, I did have an aunt on my mother's side pass away. And the funeral's this Saturday, which is pretty sad. And I've been struggling with that a little bit. So it's just been kind of a tough couple of weeks. I think for everybody, honestly. And unfortunately, as you can see, Mr. Alakai is not here. Hopefully we will be seeing him back next week. We always love having him here as well. But yeah, it's sad, like losing a family member. Before we dive into the bulk of our live stream, we just wanted to say that this episode is sponsored by viewers like you, so thank you so much. The best number one way to support our channel is obviously to crush that like button. Definitely share it with friends and family. That's the best way to get the word out there. That really lets the algorithms know that, hey, we need to put this out there so more people can see it. And we really do appreciate like all of the support. And the second best way to support us is obviously to help us pay off this computer as quickly as possible. So definitely consider donating to our channel. It also helps the live streaming for games in the evenings as well. You can do that through our Streamlabs donation button, which is on all of our on all of our Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, its Facebook page. It's all on that. So consider, donating $5 or $10 if you have it. And obviously if you don't, we do appreciate you just sharing everything. So definitely consider that today. You can do that publicly, or you can do it anonymously over at the Periodic Review over through Venmo. And welcome to the show. So our first topic is we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about freedom of speech and a little bit about Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter and how that's been going. Sweetie, what do you know so far about that? Oh, and Shadow, thank you so much. We are very sorry for the loss, and our thoughts and prayers, and we'll definitely be phone calling all of our family and stuff this weekend for the funeral and stuff. So thank you. We appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you. So I know that Elon Musk purchased Twitter, basically offered almost double what it was worth. So basically the board had to accept, because when it's a public company, the board acts in the best interest of the investors. Mm-hmm. And so if they would have turned down the offer, then it would have been apparently clear that they are corrupt and pushing certain propaganda, especially more left-leaning ideology and everything. So they did actually accept the offer. He did take it. But what's ironic is I think I saw somewhere that he all of a sudden, the purchase was under investigation because he didn't turn in information soon enough to the regulatory companies or powers that be kind of thing, which is stupid. They're just anyway. Mm-hmm. They're trying to silence somebody who is not going to follow the exact propaganda. But also, it's interesting because there was information with algorithms and all that stuff that went on. People who had their accounts banned for whatever various obscure reason all of a sudden had their accounts back and everything. And I think everybody was freaking out because they're like, oh my gosh, he's gonna allow Trump to come back on Twitter and all this stuff, and they're freaking out. And I'm just sitting here thinking, y'all have such a skewed like, oh, it's crazy. I don't know. So I know the left were, and like they were saying Elon's racist and it's good. Twitter is only for the white cis middle-aged man, and Elon's going to make sure it's just to hear the clips from the left-wing media and mainstream media was like, are you freaking kidding me? And I'm just like, are people really buying this bullshit? But apparently they are. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm entirely too opinionated, but that's
one of the reasons why I love you.
Most days.
So
There's other days you're like, I don't want your opinion. You can stop telling it to me now.
No, I do enjoy to know what your thoughts are, because it definitely helps me to understand things a little bit more. Sometimes, quite often, you know a lot more than what I know about things that are going on in the world, because I like to, much like ostriches, I like to keep my head in the sand as much as possible. Because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And also, guys, if you want to chat in, if you have any relevant, questions along with what we're discussing, definitely chat them in. It'll pop up on our live stream in our video, and we can add that to the discussion as well. Twitter is just kind of bad, to be honest. The users management of Twitter and the amount that happens.
Twitter is a cesspool, I feel like. I don't even have a Twitter account.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, sweetheart, like, how much of Twitter have you been on?
I've never
been on Twitter. And do you experience like a lot of the toxicity and stuff that's around the different chats and threads that are on there?
Like, I see Twitter accounts like that are reposted to Instagram and stuff, but I don't log into Twitter. I think it's crap.
Okay.
Like, it's just, I don't feel like it's a useful tool. I feel like it's one of the main reasons why our society is so screwed up. And
because it seems to perpetuate the negative side of the discussion.
Oh, it just,
because that's what people want to experience. It's what people want to learn and to see. And of course, all the other apps, just like Facebook and YouTube, they want to have more eyes. Well, definitely, for sure, Facebook. They definitely want more eyes.
Well, they're competing for our attention, because that's how they make money.
Exactly.
They make money off of us. So.
And they sell our metadata so that they can push different products and stuff. And not only products and stuff that we would normally be interested in, but also to be using different tactics and ways to nudge and to poke and to prod people into purchasing different things as well, like using psychological tactics to get us to buy different things. And so looks like what was the original offer? It was like $50 and some odd cents per share.
It's like 44 billion.
Yeah, I think 44 billion was the initial offer, but I know a lot of the different articles that have been going around right now around this whole thing is that there's been some light being shed. Excuse me. Gross. Not only on, I apologize. I'm having some indigestion issues. I probably shouldn't have eaten that pizza earlier today. But not only is there issues with the algorithms, like he's noticing the different algorithms that they're being used and going, these are kind of shifty. But also, he believes that there's more bot accounts than what they're saying there are. And so there is some indication that Twitter has been built upon a house of cards, aka bots.
Oh shit.
And that their growth and stuff with
shit.
Yeah. That's a pretty big implication. So not only will it not be worth it, but that's another reason why its stock is going down so quickly, is because these things are kind of coming to light, and Elon Musk is putting it all on Twitter. Yeah.
That's
at least that's what I'm reading in the headlines. I mean, I haven't gotten too in depth with this. I would love to talk more with you and Mr. Alakai. But yeah, it's pretty crazy to say the least.
Man, I tell you what.
And here's the thing too, is that like he quoted where he said that he felt that it was morally wrong that Trump and other people were banned because of their thoughts and opinions that they put on Twitter. And I think it's just really interesting.
What are you eating?
I just had a Tums.
Oh, okay. I can hear
I'm
it
gonna
in
let you
my ASMR. Like you start. It was anyway.
Sorry, I need to get a mute. I need to have like mute buttons on all of.
But you're doing it while you talk too.
I apologize.
So. Anyway.
All right, I swallowed it. Let me get some water. So, anyways, what would you like to see, Rianne? What would you like to see out of this whole Elon Musk Twitter acquisition?
Honestly, I don't care because I'm not on Twitter, so I'm not in the thick of it, and I don't plan on getting on Twitter because it's just
into the thick of it.
I don't want to. I can just see crap happening.
Gotcha.
And like, I don't need any more anxiety-inducing things in my life.
Okay.
I have plenty, and I feel like I would get so upset. And the thing I think that was so unique about Twitter itself is that, like, you only have a certain amount of characters to express a thought or a feeling, right? And so people like express thoughts and feelings that don't seem very well thought out.
Okay.
And you can't take back what you put on there. Like, it's in there. It's in the universe. You know?
Right.
And so
the internet is like, as long as you don't delete it, I mean.
Well, even if you do delete it, somebody probably got a screenshot.
Yeah,
capture
that's true. That's a good point.
Somewhere.
Like, who knows? Maybe someday somebody will find something that I said. And
there's so much cancel culture about it. I think it exemplifies and amplifies all the shit of the human race.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really think they should be labeling these companies as a publisher so that it's seen as like a town square kind of thing where people can express differing opinions on either side of the aisle and they can share and express it. And I would love for people to do more discussion and compare and contrast rather than you're stupid, you're dumb, F you, get off of this, go kill yourself, blah, 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 which is terrible.
And that's it is terrible. But the thing is people were allowed to say that as long as they were expressing a certain ideology or narrative.
Right.
But if you were right wing, if you were expressing a narrative or something opposite of what the mainstream was, then you were pushed off and everything.
Right.
And then you can't have actual discourse. At that point, it's brainwashing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not discourse or intelligence or problem solving. It is literally like, it's hate speech because I hate what you're saying. And it's not hate speech if I say those things towards you.
You should be tolerant, and if you're not going to be tolerant, then you shouldn't have the position that you're in. You shouldn't be having the income that you're receiving from this. Therefore, we will come after you. It's like, that's very tolerant of you.
Yeah, I'm not a
Yeah.
happy camper.
Okay.
I follow this one lady. She goes by Party of Logic on Twitter, TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, I left the Democrat Party because of this. And she's like, and that's what's so horrible. Oh
Well,
my
yeah.
gosh.
I mean, look at what's his name? Not Tucker Carlson. What's his name? Oh gosh, what's his name? He was a lefty, and he
Dave
switched
Rubin.
over. Dave Rubin, yes. And he came over to the other side of the aisle. But probably might actually put him more of a moderate right. But it's interesting to see somebody that was so, into that line of thinking and that much of ideology, and then switching over and going, yeah, this other side is making more sense to me, and then being more of a Republican, right-leaning platform, and very,
well, the thing is
reasonable,
like
in speech and stuff.
20 years ago, I probably would have been considered a Democrat with the way I align.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a left-leaning Democrat, but now I'm much more like I'm a right-leaning moderate.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the left has become so extreme.
Yeah. Well, I think there's extremities on extremities. I think there's extremes on both sides. I'm actually having a hard time finding too many like moderate rights, to be honest. And I think
what do you mean moderate rights?
Well, that aren't just like saying everybody's stupid, everybody's dumb, I hate this, I hate them, and blah 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 blah. Like, it's the same thing that the left is doing, just not as centrist and attacking people like all the time. What's his name? What's his last name? Bolingo? Not
Bongino.
Dan Bongino. I can't I'm trying to find a good moderate right podcast, and he was not what I was looking for.
Oh no.
Because
no.
the left are, and he just calls everybody dumb, and it's like, no, they're doing this on purpose. They're actually very intelligent people. They just have different ideals and ideologies, and they're sticking to it, even though it's destroying our country. And they're going to stick to it, apparently. But it's really interesting to see some of the backpedaling on some of these different, with the whole thing that we went through. Was it before? Like, it was like 2018, 2019, sometime before the pandemic, when they started to basically withdraw funding from the police.
That was 2020.
It was 2020. Oh, excuse me. Like in Portland, and releasing a lot of the individuals like in LA that are doing violent things, and they're being like released like on low bonds and stuff like that, like being released back into the public. And it's really interesting to see some of those things like are starting to slowly get looked at, and people are starting to change their tone, which is really interesting. But anyways, your final so there was actually another comment I wanted to add. So from Shadow, I would like to see Elon actually take care of Twitter, less chaos, less cancel culture. Oh, cancel culture removed, excuse me. Rid dream stand. I'm not sure what that means, but rid more dream stands. I'm not sure what that means, but I think we all agree with that. I think we're kind of just like echoing in our own chamber that we need to take care of these large tech company conglomerates. The algorithms need to be removed. Like, it needs to go back to, they need to go back to where they were, like at their first release. All of these like algorithms and stuff like that, a lot of them need to be removed. Because they are continuing to keep people from reaching their audience, and especially if their ideologies don't match with these big techs, which are more democratic, left-leaning, and on on the verge of being extremists, in my opinion. Definitely radicalized. And they just need to go back to being public squares where people can just discuss and people can compare and contrast. And yeah, we do need to, we need to have less people attacking people instead of, I think Joe Rogan said this pretty well when he said that, we need, to be able to have better discussions with people and have better arguments rather than just screaming and yelling at people and telling them they're dumb and they're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. Instead, having an actual rebuttal,
right?
Like a good rebuttal.
Well, and here's the thing. There are people who are doing that, but it's not good. I mean, because that requires both sides to participate. And
right.
Usually they don't. In fact, a lot of left-leaning people or right-leaning people have said, come, let's have a debate and everything. And they are like, no, we don't want to give that audience kind of thing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Well, I think that a lot of it is they can't, they don't have the ability to have a good argument against, for what they believe, and they have their ideologies and stuff. They don't have good discourse and good numbers behind it to really debate it well, which is a lot of reasons why they don't, because they'll debate it to the point of, oh, well, if you don't believe in climate change, then you're a racist. If you don't believe in racial inequality, then you're a bigot. And it's like, how do you have discourse and compare and contrast with differing opinions when you come out with people like that? Exactly.
And this is why the whole ministry of truth that Biden is trying to implement. I am like, you people, hello, Hitler had a ministry of truth. Stalin had a ministry of truth. You are sitting complaining that Donald Trump was this dictator and all of these things were freaking you out. But literally ever since Joe Biden has come into office, they're all coming true on Biden's watch. Y'all need to I'm just saying, it's...
Well, and I think it's going to be happening with, just average Joes like us. I think people are going to slowly awake and realize that they have a voice that can be heard, and they're going to be doing it, using it. We're seeing more and more individuals as well as parents and stuff fighting back against school districts with their critical race theories being propagated upon children, as well as sexualizing children, as well as introducing, LBGTQ plus whatever ideologies into as young as kindergarten, infiltrating pretty much everything nowadays. And the pendulum is definitely swung way too far in one direction, and it's going to be swinging back, I believe.
I hope
very, very soon,
because it's way too left, and that bothers me. The whole talking about sexuality and what you're attracted to and stuff before the age of 8 is just not appropriate, and it is like grooming. It is.
Well, I think talking about any kind of sexuality with children, aside from the normal birds and the bees talk from the parents, I don't think there should be any kind of in-depth sexuality talk until they're in their later teens. I feel like 16. I mean, I know kids have, experienced pornography and sexuality and stuff before that, but I feel like that's a fairly good age to talk to your kids about, okay, there's more stuff you should probably understand.
No, I mean, honestly, Jacob, you need to be talking to them when they're feeling those urges. You need to have that open conversation with them, but it should come from a parent, and it should come from...
I think that's what I was trying to say.
It is not the and I get that, you can say, here's all these definitions. I don't know. I get very flustered about this because you run into, if you don't educate them and talk to them, then they do become more susceptible to predators. Right?
That's true too, especially with a lot of these applications, which is really enabling these individuals to reach out to kids
so
anonymously.
Parents do need to have that conversation. What I have an issue with is when schools are like, oh, you identify as a girl now? Okay, well, don't tell your parents, and here's a special room where you can come and change your clothes, and what do you want to be known by? And all this stuff, and they are doing all of this stuff without notifying the parents of what's going on because they're assuming the parents aren't going to support it. And like, they're not going to do gender affirming things. And I'm just like, you know what? Children that age will fluctuate. I remember pretending I was a boy. I was a tomboy. But nowadays, would I be pulled aside like in a school and like encouraged to feel like to have that identity and change my entire identity because I got along better with boys? And like, I don't understand where, I mean, there are some serious lines being crossed in that realm.
Well, and we see that with all these different streaming services now. Trying to introduce children to, I don't know, let's say the drag circles.
Oh, drag story times?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or how about these other very hyperly sexualized
children's shows?
Children's shows.
Yeah.
Like, it's not appropriate. Children have enough on their plate. They're already confused, like trying to understand themselves on how and what they were born with, whether they were a boy or a girl, and trying to navigate social circles, especially at school and around parents and adults and stuff. And they should just focus on learning. They should focus on, having good relationships with individuals and friends and adults and stuff like that. And not worry about trying to figure out what if their sexuality is different than outside
or
of the
who
norm.
they're attracted to. Because, like, I'm sorry, but that is not the developmental stage of the mind or brain of a child to know what they're attracted to or who they're attracted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless it is pushed on them and they're asked those questions or
they're guided through, choosing those questions too. I think, and I know this is like, not the norm, but I'm just saying, I'm sure there are individuals out there, whether it's, teachers or even like their parents who are steering their children into a certain, sexuality group or LBGT or whatever, and encouraging it.
Yeah.
But, when you grow up and you're, of accountability and you're able to make your own decisions and, are able to give consent. So if you're, of consenting age and you decide to change and do whatever you want to do whatever you want to do. But until then, just go to school and learn and get your education and then try to figure your sexuality out. Like, that's just my thoughts on it. We can move on though, because I know we can get pretty deep into this rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's move on.
And we're already, pretty far into this episode. Let's talk a little bit about a new series we just started. We just finished the finale. This is a series over on Amazon Prime. It is called Outer Range with Josh Brolin, aka the bad guy.
I don't
from the
know
Avengers.
Thanos, yeah.
Yeah, it was Thanos. Were you gonna say something else?
I thought you were saying he was the bad guy in this show, and I'm like, no.
That's it.
I don't know.
It's unclear at this point in time. However,
it's not. It is.
So
but
spoiler
it's not.
alert, everyone. Do. Spoiler alert. Trigger spoilers.
You have a spoiler alert jingle. It's just weird.
I made it up on the fly. But what were your thoughts on it? Like,
It's very Lost-esque.
I got those Lost-esque vibes as well.
You're like, what the hell is going on? Oh my gosh.
Like each episode brings up more questions.
Yeah, and you're just like, what the fuck? I swear to God, if they end it like they ended Lost, I will be so pissed. I am
it was such a poor ending.
Of Lost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those series that you shouldn't really have a very conclusive conclusion. Like, they really should have had a 2-hour special and leave it wide open, like how it was going to end, and let the viewer figure it out, because that's how it was through the whole series. They should have done it like that instead of how they ended it. You were just like, what the hell? I definitely got some Yellowstone vibes from this, which was kind of
like
cool.
Yellowstone meets Lost meets
Signs. I want to say the movie Signs, because it kind of gives you that eerie,
maybe
like alien-y kind of feel to it, although it ended up not being aliens, which I'm kind of sad. I kind of wish it was like aliens and cowboys. It'd be kind of cool.
We don't know what it is, Jacob.
All we know is there's these holes that pop up and they have to deal with time.
So it's like...
And so Brolin's character, Royal, he apparently came from the 1700s into... 1800s, excuse me. And he arrived as a boy on the Abbott farm. Like later in the series, you find out that he accidentally killed, I believe, his brother, if I remember correctly. Or his father, excuse me.
Jacob, wait.
And he ran away.
No, okay. We need to not do all of these spoilers.
Babe.
We can't do all these spoilers.
Why not?
Because I feel like people need a shot to watch it. Just
go watch it and decide for yourselves if you like it or not. Okay, fine. I apologize if I spoiled that for everybody. But it's kind of unclear as the story unfolds around Royal's character if he is a good person or a bad person. Like it kind of leaves you in this limbo of,
well, because it's not always clear cut.
Yeah, because it's like, like people are running away from him, running away from the farm, because it seems like everything that's surrounding, Royal and everything that's going on the Abbott farm seems to go to hell in a handbasket. Like shit just hits the fan, and the fan just kind of spreads everything out. And you just don't know like what's good, what's bad, what's up, what's down. And then this kind of timey-wimey, like, traveling in these holes that pop up, and then there's this mineral that's in the ground as well, which gives visions, which is interesting.
And I do have to say, like, okay, let's stop talking about plot. Let's talk about, like, how they're telling the story.
Uh-huh.
Okay, can we, like, the dude who sings all the time? Like, I don't know what that's about. I don't know what it's about, but it's the guy who played Patrick on Schitt's Creek, who I loved, right? And he's, like, playing this character who's, like, constantly singing all of these, like, classic rock ballads.
Mm-hmm.
Randomly. And I don't know how it fits into the show. That's what trips me out. I'm just like, why is this? Why do they have a person who sings all the time?
So you're talking about Noah Reed, who plays Billy Tillerson.
Yeah, Billy, who plays Billy.
Yeah, he plays Billy.
It's just, I don't understand that character. And, like, I think it's kind of cool, but I don't get it. And I don't know if it's pertinent to the story.
It doesn't feel like it is. It seems like it kind of
But
is
it kind of does, because in one episode, his brother's like, why do you sing all the time? Why are you singing? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It feels like it's part of it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But can we talk about the weird, random freaking kissing between Billy and What's-Her-Bucket? Like, that is the most awkward kissing I have ever seen on a series.
Autumn's character.
Okay. Well, either way, I just think it's, like, so freaking weird.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest, like, I mean, talk about, like, weird, random, open mouth kissing.
almost like she's a siren, almost like she's like manipulating him somehow. Through,
yeah, but we know who she is.
Through saliva.
Anyway, you
I don't
figure
know,
out
kinda
who
weird.
she
It's weird.
is. And it's weird.
Yeah, they kind of bring that open. Of course, I called it as soon as she came into the frame. I was like, I know who this character is. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys because, yeah.
But it's still weird. Like, the way they kiss, I can't get over it. Like, I'm picturing it in my head, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Stop
just
kissing
open
like
mouth,
that.
Like just tongue. Like no, like hardly any
It's
lips.
like,
just like
they
tongue.
put their chins together, open their mouth, and then stick their tongues out and flail them together. It is so weird.
Okay, bring it down, baby. You don't need to increase your volume because it's it gets it through the
I'm
microphone.
saying it's weird.
It is weird though,
And that's how I felt. I feel very intensely about its weirdness, so I'm going to express it as such. Anyway,
I feel like Will Patton as Wayne Tillerson. I feel like he did really good, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like there could have been more there with this character. I feel like it didn't really stand out very well. He's the father of the Tillermans.
yeah, I know who he is.
What else?
But I have a feeling like there was so much setup in this first season that we're going to get more character building next season.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot of setup that needed to happen. And I swear to God, I hope they fill in the holes, because if it turns into a lost series, I will lose patience so quickly.
I feel like they left too many things open, like in this first season. I really feel like they really should have solidified like Royal Abbott's character, like whether he's a good person or a bad person. It kind of left it like way too much, like way too far open. Perry's character, like, jumping into the hole, and basically they're losing their farm now. But like, what's going to happen to him? Where is he going to end up? I hope they don't do like a Stranger Things like kind of thing where they have these like 2 or 3 different stories, like kind of bouncing around, kind of jumbling around, and then they kind of sort of bring it back together towards the end.
Well, they do have that going on.
Yeah, they do kind of have that going on right now, but I kind of feel like they shouldn't do that, because I feel like that doesn't work really well in a TV series. I feel like it can do really well in a film, but in a series, I feel like it's just constant struggle, like with that.
Maybe. What's going on?
It was just a work text.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't have picked it up. I'm sorry. I did appreciate that there was only like one episode where they had like, several instances of, white man bad. And it's like, can we just all agree that it doesn't matter which side it's on, it's all racist? Like,
no, they can't agree to that.
Like,
Jacob.
can we?
They don't agree to that.
As long as it's against white people, it's not racism. What's that about?
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's such bullshit. I hate that. Like, it seriously bugs me when film and TV series continue to poke and prod and say like, oh, well, you're bad because, the color of your skin. It's just like, that's racism. Like, period. Anyways, I digress.
The argument could be like, well, yeah, you're sick of it, but like races.
I'm so done with it. Like, it's
races in America had to put up with it for years. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but it's their ancestors. You know?
Not necessarily.
Well, here's the thing. If we're talking about, like, I completely agree. There is still individual racism. I'm sure there's people who have companies full of individuals that are racist against one race or another. I'm sure it happens. But collectively, not to the
they're
extent and extreme that's being portrayed
right.
in these corporate media conglomerates. It's not as much as it's portrayed in social media. And I can attest to that because we've lived in highly populated Black American cities and have had great experiences with those individuals and families.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have racism either way. Like, if it was as bad as people say it is, then the feeling from individuals that aren't the same skin color as me would be very angry at me all the time.
And vice versa.
And vice versa, which is really interesting that it did not turn out that way. In fact, some of the best experiences I've had with people I didn't know and got to know, had such wonderful, amazing like conversations, learned a lot about like, you know, culture within Black communities and Black families in America. Like very, very eye-opening and very, very different than it's portrayed nowadays.
Well, yeah, and
it's sad,
but
it's disgusting, in my opinion.
The thing is they're going to continue to use the race bait and everything because they will use anything that keeps us divided and distracted. Like, legitimately,
yeah.
That is what they're doing. It is propaganda, and they're trying to keep the masses irritated, frustrated, and I fall into it, you know.
Yeah, we do on occasion. We kind of get on our...
But they're trying to keep us distracted and divided, because if we're divided, then they can stay in power.
Right.
Like, we are the masses, and if the masses were to unite and actually, like, throw up in arms and, like, throw a fit about how the economy is, like, we're sitting on oil reserves. We're sitting on places. We don't have to be paying as much for gas as we're paying.
Right.
The freaking baby formula being out, that's all freaking government trying to control the masses. They did it with the Indians when they killed over 1 million buffalo to make the Indians more dependent on the government. Like, it was a strategy, and it's being done now. And, like, they're capitalizing on the crisis of COVID, Ukraine, Russia.
They're trying to do other things because they can't capitalize on COVID anymore.
Right. So, like, yeah, Anthony Fauci
so they gotta
magically disappeared.
Yeah.
Like,
we haven't heard from him in quite a while.
Yeah, because, like, they're realizing everybody's over it, and they're realizing that it's not as big of a issue as it was before. You know, so of course they're like, oh, well, then but all of the gas prices and the economy, inflation, it's all because of Russia, and blame it on Putin. I'm like, that is such bullshit. Gas prices were climbing before the whole Russia thing ever happened. The cost of food was climbing. We were still having shortages. Like, they think we are so stupid. And the sad thing is there's quite a few people who buy into all of that propaganda and shit, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, it's not that
and
the
it's
nation
the right and the left. I'm not.
Yeah.
This isn't one particular party. It's literally the powers that be. So I'm irritated. What time is it? Oh my gosh, we've been going a long time.
Yeah, we're coming up on the end, but I definitely want to say that I don't believe that the masses in the United States are stupid. I don't believe that people are that, like, intelligently dim. I believe that we've become complacent, and I believe that we've become uninformed, and I believe that there's quite a few individuals out there and families who have just decided to go along with the narrative instead of doing their own research. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, and I'm not saying that everybody's perfect at it, but I definitely would say that more and more people are becoming more aware, and they're starting to awake from their just keeping the status quo, and they're kind of done with doing that.
I hope so.
But anyways,
because we are on the verge of losing our country. People don't think we are, but it's definitely a possibility.
if we allowed
If-
it continue the way that it's been going these last 2 years.
So look up the WHO and people should look up the World Health Organization and the intention of the United States to sign over its sovereignty in times of crisis to the WHO to be governed.
Should definitely watch 2,000 Mules.
Well, that's
a very interesting.
That's voter fraud. But
It's a very interesting documentary.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on Outer Range. I know we kind of got onto a
Weird kissing. I can't handle it. And they
Okay,
better
how
fill
many-
in the holes or else I'm
1
going to
to
get
10.
irritated.
like literally fill the hole. Because there are holes in the series. What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Right now it's at about a 7.5 for me. Enough to start a second season, but if something doesn't if it's just a bunch of weird shit just to be a bunch of weird shit, I'm going to be irritated. I want to know why the stupid bear cub showed up. I want to know where the freaking herd of buffalo came from and how that all played in.
Yeah, what's with the random buffalo with the arrows in it that keeps showing up?
And the
for
mastodon
no
and all of this stuff. It's weird and creepy, and I want to see some resolve or figure out where all this shit is happening. Because I tell you what.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm going to give it a little bit lower. I'm going to say it's a 7 out of 10. Just because it just seems like it wasn't really going anywhere. There wasn't really there was some character progression, but it was mostly revolving around.
But it wasn't
royal.
it wasn't character progression. It was just weird random stuff.
It wasn't really,
and you don't really learn a lot about the characters except for Royal.
The bigger character progressions was only in 1 or 2 of the episodes with Royal, and then everything else was just revolving around the family, this strange girl that came into town, the Tillersons and the Abbott feud that's been going on since who knows when. Yeah, I mean it's not a terrible series, but I would definitely say it's average because it doesn't seem like it has a direction quite yet. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
No.
No?
I'm tired.
You're tired? Okay.
I'm tired.
You can tell you're just so comfy, sunk into the couch with the blanket and the doggos.
Are both of them are up here.
Yeah, and again, guys, sorry we started the the podcast so late today. Hopefully we'll be closer to on time next Monday because we do stream these wonderful podcasts every Monday between 6 and 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can also catch our episodes over at Spotify, so definitely look up The Periodic Review on Spotify and Anchor.fm. So thank you all so much for watching another episode. We really do appreciate it. And from our family to yours, good night.
Bye.
Hello everyone, JayReims with the Periodic Review. Today's video is sponsored by viewers like you, so thank you. Hopefully we've earned your subscription today, so don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that damn bell to turn on your notifications so you don't miss a content release. Check out the video links at the end of every video to view our previous content, as well as visit the description section for more links to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and from my family to yours,